I am back for episode 5 of Boys to Planet, which is the eliminations. And I just have to say, the chair arrangement is so ugly for the top 8. There is no way I believe that is actually the debut group because it's just too ugly. It makes no sense. There's always a focus on symmetry and that just doesn't look right. Are you telling me there's really no extra chair next to number 6? It just makes no sense. So that leads me to believe that there must be at least one mentor pick or something for the finale because I need more members. 8 members is just not enough. It's always never enough. But I'm kind of hoping for 11 members, to heal my X1 trauma because Mnet is evil. Anyways, we have the fun segment in between the eliminations because Mnet always wants us on an emotional roller coaster. And of course, this is the time that Mnet gives some screen time to the trainees and they're actually funny and could be loved, but then they're gonna be eliminated in like 10 minutes. So we have the visual pick corner and Lisa Howe killed me during this segment. He was so funny. He chose He Shin-long as his visual pick and said he has an alpha vibe. And then we saw that He Shin-long picked Zihao as his visual pick. And then the staff asked him, would you be reborn as Lee Zihao? And he's like, I think there are better choices. When the staff were talking to Lee Zihao, I can't believe they mentioned how he was hated on by thousands of people online for his visuals when the previews of their photos were shown. I honestly hope he didn't get too hurt by those nasty ass comments because I'm sure he's still getting a lot. But at least it seems like he's doing okay and he's taking it in a fun way. Because he said attention is attention, Now this reminds me of that moment when Xie called Zihao the most handsome during like the practice footage in the previous episodes. And that makes me think that he's saying that to, boost his confidence and be like, I'm here for you, bro. And that just makes me sad. Love their friendship. When the segment was over, it was announced that the visual pick corner was actually named the Planet Alpha Visual Competition. I'm so done with the alpha. Of course, Sangwon won number 1 as the visual pick. And he's terrible at giving speeches, so he went on forever a ramble. And we got a little quick reaction of Yoonso saying, oh, here we go again. And then we cued the 2 times speed of Sangwon speaking because I don't know what he got to say when he just got chosen as number 1 visual. Like, why you got so much to say? Now, something that confused me was that the pre-release photos were also the top 8 visual picks. And on the first season of Boys Planet, they were chosen by the trainees, and that's how they became the posters of the visuals. But for this season, it seems like those top 8 visuals were chosen by the producers or something. Those top 8 pre-show photos definitely help a few trainees, especially Liu, get a lot of attention. And to be honest, his photos were the best. So I guess it's warranted. Now, this episode was long as hell. I'm definitely not going through all the eliminations, but when we started off with the Rising Sun teams, I was already sad because I just knew that the other team would be eliminated, majority of them. I cannot believe Hongyu got 11th place. I'm so proud of him. I really need you to debut. He's just so close to top 8 and I'm afraid that he might not. I'm not gonna say it. Anyways, please, we cannot lose him. He is so good. I really cannot have another J moment from Boys Planet 1. Please. I'm just saying, Mnet, you're gonna make so much money out of this group. Why not, just add a few more members, make a little more money? Plus, the contract is supposed to be like 5 years, so, Anyways, fast forward, we have Ye-chan who ranked 39, which I'm proud that he survived because he really is a good rapper. And there's not many good rappers on this damn show. And then Tyga said, there's gonna be no more. We're gonna be eliminated. And that just makes me think about how it's so much torture for the ones who are clearly going to be eliminated and are not popular at all, that they just have to sit there and wait for everybody else to be called and announce that they survived while they watch all their friends go away. They know they're going home and they just have to sit through like a 5-hour shoot. I cannot. And then during the Kill the Romeo part, Songwoo announces the hint for number 31, which is a very distinct character. And then we got a shot of Woojin copying He Jongxing's sexy. And then we got this random reaction shot of Shinlong, and he just reminds me of that Riz emoji. His face just looks like it. You know the thing that Matthew from Zero Base One does? That's what it reminds me of. And then He Jongxing got ranked 36, and Peng Jingyu says, yes, we gotta have this kind of person in the show. And then Jahao was like, huh? And I'm like, what are you saying? But honestly, yes, I understand what he means. Because if you think about it, there's not that many very super distinct characters like He Jongxing on the show right now who are very clear on what their character is that they're showing to everybody. Everybody knows him as the sexy guy. Now, the moment that made me laugh so much was when He Jongxing was, clapping hands with everybody, and then Sho said, hug me, and Jongxing went straight past his ass. That tells me the beef was real between them. If you remember correctly, if you watched the episode previews, we never got the full segment of Sho yelling at Jongxing for not being able to speak Korean, which once again, the Planet C trainees did not know they were going to be debuting in a Korean speaking group. They were supposed to debut in a Chinese group. Now we're onto a fun dance segment. And Konu comes in and he's the MC and he says there's gonna be a rank dance battle. And Jung Sang-young says 1 star to 2 star to 3 star. I just love when he speaks English. This entire episode made me realize that I'm slowly falling in love with him because of those tiny segments. And I think this entire video is just me talking about those tiny segments because the eliminations were awful. Now, the prize for the dance competition was 100 chickens, and that always gets me thinking, that chicken must be cold and soggy as hell, because they filmed the dance segment for at least 2 hours, where they gotta switch through everybody, and there's MCs talking and everything, so there is no way that chicken is nice, hot, crispy. I don't believe it. They just be giving them cold chicken as the prize. And we got a reaction shot of Woojin saying, that's crazy. And his pronunciation sounds like a native speaker. Once again, I did not know that so many of these trainees could speak English. Like, what? But yes, the dance battles were crazy. Another funny moment for me was when Sang-yeon says, the chicken is ours. I'm so sorry, but he gets me. Now we're back to the eliminations, and I cannot believe Hanim ranked number 12. That is completely insane because he literally got 0 screen time. We didn't even see his audition performance. They also cut his speech for ranking number 12. Mnet really hates him. For what reason? I have no idea. And I don't think anybody else does either because he's talented, he's beautiful, he can sing, he can dance, and Mnet says no. But also, how are so many people voting for him when he doesn't even show up on screen? Anyways, Whiplash team was next. And I thought, oh, damn, this episode is finally over. And then I checked the time and it was like an hour left. I was like, what the hell? So I started watching at 2 times speed. So Chingwee got announced as passing. And then Sang-yeon says, congrats, Chingwee. I swear, whoever the editor is that got these little bites from Sang-yeon, you know what? Thank you for that. Now, the hint for number 15 was a height of 172 centimeters. And it turns out to be Sun Jae-young. And now we all know that he lied about his height on his Boys Planet profile. There ain't no way he is that tall. Now, I just have to say, when we saw some of the shots of He Shin-long, he really looks so beautiful. But also, he reminds me of those dragon memes. You know what I'm talking about? The meme of the 3 dragon heads. He looked like all 3 of them. Anyways, the rankings were so obvious. And actually, there was a rumor that listed all the rankings exactly as they turned out to be. So the rumors on this show are crazy. There really is a staff leaking all this information because how is everything correct? If I remember from last season, it was not correct. People were just doing random stuff and having fun. But this season, there is somebody on the inside leaking actual information. Now, let me tell you, I thought we were going to have more of the fun segments that they showed in the preview. But no, I skipped ahead so many times through the rankings because we just knew what was gonna happen. And finally, we're at the send off, and I always imagine myself as that awkward person in that group of people where they're all, hugging, crying, and saying goodbye. And then we always see at least like a few trainees just on screen and they're like looking around like, and they're not talking to anybody, they're not comforting anybody, they're just watching everybody else say goodbye and cry to their friends while they're just standing there. It's kind of sad if you think about it, because what if they weren't close with anybody to, do anything? But hopefully that's not the case. I'm sure most of them are friends with someone at least. And of course, we always get those last goodbye messages like, "This is the beginning. This is not the end. I will continue to fight for my dream." And we all know that it just doesn't really happen because out of all the people on these survival shows, maybe like 5 of them debut in other groups. And even then, out of those groups, they still are Nugu and nobody knows who they are. And then they disband after like a year or two of trying to survive in the industry, which is a terrible reality. Finally, at the end of the show, we got previews for the semi-finale songs. And the first song is called Lucky Macho. Mnet is really pushing this alpha male agenda. What kind of tomfoolery is this? Mnet is really taking Boys Max the Power a little too seriously. I'm honestly worried this will affect the group name because it's gonna be something like Alpha Boys or Machos. I really hope not. And I think Chains is trying to be the next Over Me from season 1. And I don't know how to feel about it, but all the other songs are like, okay. I think the previews never give too much justice to how the full song is. With that said, I've also seen the spoilers for the next round, the second round performances. Of course, since there's already an entire list of songs and teams for everything, and there's already fan sites posting from videos taken during the performances, and we already know there's a group performing Queen Ka by Idol, and a spoiler alert, they rearranged the song to be a rock version, and they're wearing black leather jackets and dark makeup, and they're kind of thrusting on stage, but they did not change the lyrics to King Ka. So they're singing about being a queen while doing alpha male dance moves. Anyways, I'm maybe excited. Goodbye.